Hello and welcome to EGW Writings Tech Tips. I'm your host, Daryl Thompson. Thank you for joining us today in another of our series on learning how to use the new EGW Writings 2 app for Android. Now what I'm going to be doing today is giving you an overview of most of the features that the EGW Writings 2 app has. Things like My Library, Audiobooks, Study Center, etc. Now in front of me I have opened up my EGW Writings 2 app, and when I first open it up you can see in front of me the home screen. Now the home screen has all these things: My Library, All Collections, History, Study Center, Subscriptions, Audiobooks, Listening History, and About Ellen White. Now we're not going to go into My Library first, we're actually going to start in All Collections. We'll come back to My Library later. So when I tap on All Collections, you can see it lists all of the contents that this app has from the database. Books, devotionals, periodicals, pamphlets, manuscript releases, miscellaneous collections, letters and manuscripts, biography, modern English. Now, those at the top are all to deal with EGW Writings. The ones here, the bottom three, is from a different collection. That's reference works, and then biblical resources, and then the Adventist Party Library. But we've listed it all on this screen, so instead of going into another level, you can see it essentially on the one screen. So I can open up books, and when I tap on books, it brings me to a bookshelf. And in this bookshelf, it's listing all of the covers, just like you would see in a library. Now, if I want to jump down to a particular book, you can see on the right-hand side here, the quick menu, which allows you to go to a particular letter. So if I want to go down to Patriarchs and Prophets, I could tap on the P, and you can see it brings me down here to Patriarchs and Prophets. And if I tap on Patriarchs and Prophets, it opens me up to the table of contents within the Patriarchs and Prophets books. And you can see if I scroll down here, I can see all of the table of contents listed in front of me. Now at the very bottom of this list you can see a series of 4 icons on the toolbar. The one that we have highlighted, you can see, is the list of the table of contents. Beside there, if I tap on that, you can see it brings me to About the book. So I can see the cover, I can subscribe. If I've downloaded the book, I can delete it and I can buy the printed book. If I click on the little I, it gives me the information about the book. And at the top, I can actually download a PDF version, an EPUB version for like my EPUB reader, or I could download the Kindle version for my Kindle reader, or I could download the MP3 and listen to it that way to my favorite MP3 player. But we have all those features and everything built into the app. And if you wish to share this page, there's a little share link. Now, all over on the other side, I can scroll over, we've got the little tiny music clef. And when you click on that, that brings you to the audiobook section. So that's what these 4 little series at the bottom when you get to the table of contents section. And the audiobooks is if I wanted to listen to the audiobook. So, I can tap on chapter 1 here. And if I tap on chapter 1, you notice that the book has started to play. And we'll come back and explain the audiobooks later. And up the top here, you can see the little download arrow. That download arrow allows you, when you tap on it, you can download all the individual chapters to offline. Now, I can go through and I can say, okay, I want to select Introduction or Chapter 1. So if I click on like Chapter 1 here, I can click on it. And then once I click on it, you can see it says download all, and I could download the whole book. Or I could click on the individual download arrows here, because if I download it all, it's going to be around about 2.2 gigabytes in file size, rather large. So you can see each individual size, it tells you 1.81 megs. Okay, so when you add all these up, this one, chapter 3, is 13.75 megabytes. So if I went and clicked on download, so like the introduction, and I tap that there, you can see how it's downloaded, and now I could actually put this app into offline mode and listen to it. All right, so I'm just going to close the download audio here, and I'm back again. Now if I want to go back to the main menu, since we've buried down into the book, I can always tap back, and here I am back at the bookshelf again. And anyway, I'm going to open up the book here. And then if I want to read it, because we went through and learned all about on the toolbar what these different icons at the bottom were within the table of contents. But if I want to read the book, all I need to do is say chapter 1, and then I tap on it and it opens up. Now what we have in the reader here, we have a little tiny thumbnail at the top. That's a cut of the cover of the book. So you can know, what book you've actually opened this up in. And as you start to scroll up, okay, as you start to scroll up, you can see how it automatically hides the cut cover of the book. You can see how it hides it as I scroll it up and down. And then I can come through the reader and I can carefully read. So that's basically how I enter into the book. Now there's a few other little features within the reader as well, but I'm going to just repeat what I did right back from the beginning. So let me come back. I'll click the back arrow. I'm going to tap back out, back to all collections, and then I can tap once more back out to my library. So here I am at the start screen. If I want to go into a book, I can tap on all collections, can tap on books. If I want to go to Patriarchs and Prophets again, I can tap on the P, go to Patriarchs and Prophets, open the book, start in chapter 1, and away I go. I'm in the reader. Now you might say, well, this font is too big, or maybe it's too small. You can adjust all those features up in here in this little tool at the top that says AA. And this up here, you can change your font. So currently, where we're in a serif font, maybe you want to make it a sans serif font. So you can tap there, and as you can see, we've switched to a sans serif font. And you can tap back. I'm just going to come back over and select a different one just to show you. So here's a different serif font. I can change the size of the serif font by clicking here and increasing the size. So you can see how I've increased the size up to a large text. If I want to get the toolbar back, notice when I scroll, it automatically hides. If I want to get it back, as soon as I start scrolling back down, it appears again, or I can just tap the screen in the toolbar and the navigation location here comes back. Tap it again, it hides, tap it and it shows up. Scrolling up hides, scrolling down shows. Okay, just so you understand that in the navigation. But I'll tap the A. I'm going to bring it back to size 32 again, which is the size that I like to have mine set at. And I'm going to come back and use the default font, Roboto, which is the font that we use, the Google font that we use on the new EGW Writings website. And if you say, well, Daryl, that's a little bit small, no problems. We'll just bring it up just a little bit so we can see it nice and clear. Okay, so we've adjusted the font size in there. You can also change your background. So I've got it in dark mode. Maybe I want to go to day mode, which is a white background. Maybe I want to go to a dusk, which is a gray background. Or maybe I want to have dawn, which is a linen colored background. And you can choose the backgrounds that you so desire, all in here. Okay, so that's basically gone through the tools. Now, of course, you can come here and you can click the About screen, or Listen, or Share. So they're your features that you have there in this little tiny reader toolbar. Now, you'll notice up there the search, but we're not going to click on search yet and get into that area just yet. We'll come back to this later on. We're going to stay in the reader here for the moment. So in the reader here, as I'm reading through the chapter, you'll notice that you'll see lots of Bible links. And if I like to click on a Bible link, what I will do in the reader, it will open up to a split screen mode. So you can see here that on the bottom half of the screen, I have Hebrews 1:3, and you can see at the end of the paragraph or the verse, it is listing the KJV Bible, the book of Hebrews, chapter 1, verse 3. Now, at the bottom here, you can see a couple of these sort of maximize screens. If I want to see the full context of this in the Bible, I can scroll up and down. I can just tap on the bottom right-hand corner here, and I can maximize the Bible view. If I want to go back, I can just tap the icon in the bottom right-hand corner again, and it will go back. I can do the same in the EGW. And if I want to close that window, I just need to backtrack out, and it brings me back full screen, just back into EGW. That's the same thing will happen on any Bible text. So there we are. We open up Colossians 1:16. I can backtrack out And here I am back again at Colossians 1:16. And you will notice that when I tap on that, it'll pull up in the toolbar at the top what is my default. And notice if I tap in each screen, how it changes from chapter 1 from Patriarchs and Prophets, Why Was Sin Permitted, down here to Colossians. Okay, so that can tell you which is your primary screen that you've got selected. So let's just backtrack back to the full screen again. Now, what we have as we scroll through each of the paragraphs, you can see at the end of every paragraph this lighter PP 34.1. What that is that is your reference code. Every book has a book code. PP is the book code to Patriarchs and Prophets. 34 is the page. The .1 is the paragraph. So as I scroll through to the second paragraph, you'll notice that it is PP 34.2. If I keep scrolling, PP 34.3 at the end of the paragraph, and now we've switched over to paragraph 1 of page 35, and you can see that right there after the text Ezekiel 28 verses 12 to 15. So that is helping you as you go through the book, knowing where you are, the location within the book that you're currently reading. Now there's several tools that you can do and processes that you can do within this app. Many of you like to highlight, bookmark, and add notes in the reader. And you can do that if you are logged in. Over in the top right-hand corner, you can see what we'll call the little sandwich icon. It's a horizontal row of 3 little icons in the top right-hand corner of my screen there. And if I click on that, that is my side menu. And it opens up the side menu here, and you can see that I'm logged in. Okay, I'm not going to log out here and sign in. We'll do that in a separate app later on. But this is where you'll go into the main screen of the side menu and where you can sign in to EGW Cloud. If you want to change many of the settings, you'll find them in Settings. In Main Language, you can change your language from English to another language. For like the My Library, but the actual language of the app is set by your device. So just remember that. Then you've got your Study Center, Search, Download Manager, User Manual, and Subscriptions, and then your Reading History. That is all what's in the side menu. Now, a very quick shortcut if you want to go back and close this, you can hit the back arrow, or you can just swipe from left to right. And if you want to come in, you can tap the sandwich menu, or you can just swipe in from the edge of the screen and do an edge screen swipe. So just if you want to go back into the main reader, you can just tap on the edge or swipe back and it will take you back to the reader. Now once I'm logged in, as it's handy then, I can go and say I want to highlight a statement. So I'm reading through here and I can see, so long as all created beings are acknowledged the allegiance of love, there was a perfect harmony throughout the universe of God. Now maybe I want to select this. So what I do is I place my finger on the word so for about a second and a half, and then I just drag my finger across the screen. Now once I've dragged my finger across the screen, you can see that it highlights the text. I can adjust the text selection by just popping this selection tooltip there, back, and you can see now I've selected just that paragraph. Now, sometimes people say, if I'm selecting down here to text down into this area, you say, oh, the little tool pop-up box has got in the way. You can put your finger out to the side and you can drag the screen up to take it out of the way of the text selection area. You see how I dragged it up? And I can move it out of the way. Now, once I've got the text selected, you'll notice that a series of tools comes up in the toolbox. The first one here is to add a note. So if I tap on the first icon, you can see in here that I can add a note. Now it's going to list where this note is going to be added. I do not want to add it in the last location that I had it in, so I'm going to tap here. I'm going to tap up on the Study Center. I'm going to add a new folder called PP for Patriarchs and Prophets. I'm going to click OK. So now I've got a new folder. And once it's in the folder there, I want to save it there. I'll click the little tiny check mark. Now I'm saving it in the PP folder. And I like to create all of my notes and bookmarks and highlights into topical folders rather than just adding it into the root. The reason is being able to manage and organize all your study center into logical topics. Because if you have thousands of things just listed all in one big long list, not only does it slow the app down, if you get past about 100 elements within each folder, it also makes it very difficult to navigate your study center. So try to create folders like I did. Now this one here, I'm just going to create a test note. So I'll just add the word here, test note, and I'll just hit the little check mark, and you'll notice here that I have placed a little tiny note right there at the end of that selection that I placed. Now, if I want to select this text, again, to highlight it and add a highlight, I could click here, and then the next one looks like a pen over a little yellow object. Now when I come into here, I can select the default colors, and the default colors red, green, blue, cyan, magenta, yellow, purple, orange, pink, and underline. After that, these are colors and topics that I've added. So you can not only add colors, you can actually give the color a name or a topic name. The default here you cannot change. They are locked and they stay. But anything after the underline, you can come in and add custom colors that you would like to create. Now I'm just going to use the default yellow currently here, at present for this one, and then I'll hit the little check mark and I've saved. And the good thing is when you come through the next time, say I want to select here, this sentence here, and add it back into the same folder with the same color, you can see the history up the top shows here. So I can just tap the little yellow circle and it will place it in this highlight into the same Patriarchs and Prophets folder that I created. So as I quickly jump through and say I want to mark up this statement here, all I need to do is tap the Y and it's going to be in my study center. And we can verify that by going over to the side menu, tapping on Study Center, opening up Patriarchs and Prophets, and here is my note and my 3 new highlights that I've added. So utilizing the little history one at the top is a very quick way if you're saying creating highlights within a book or a particular topic, just tapping on the little history one there. You can add new ones, that's not a problem. So if I come in here and I select this area of the text, let's go out to the edge, and then click on the highlight again, I can actually go in and add a highlight color and create that highlight color wherever I want, and I can give it a name. I could give it the name PP if I so desired. Now I've got the color PP, and then I click OK, and now I have the color PP for going through the book. So I can create custom colors with custom names if I so desire. And if I come back and create the next section of color, you can see my P is created up there, and I can just tap on that, and now it's adding. So you can go through. You can even add a color over a color if you so desire. So I can come into here, and I can click on here and select a color and click OK, and you can see how I can highlight and select and add notes and multiple elements right over the top of each other. It's up to you how complicated and messed up you want it to be, because if you do add too many highlights, it's going to get a little bit much to understand what you've done. But you can do that, and you can add multiple highlights across multiple folders. Now the last element, of course, is a bookmark. So if I'm reading through in here and I click on the first and say I've finished reading that, I just want to add a bookmark, I can just tap bookmark. I'm in PP, and I can't remember what page I'm on, but let's just say I should have checked page 40. I was at 37. Okay. So, but if I want to edit that, I can tap on the bookmark element and I can actually edit it. So see, I tapped back on, so it was a good demonstration, and then tap there. Now, if I don't want to keep that, say I've come back to the next day and this is where I was up to and I want to remove that element, just tap on your element. See the little trash can in the bottom right-hand corner? If I tap on that, that's how I delete the element. It's the same thing if I'm up in the highlighted section, say I want to delete that. I want to choose the second one I created, the pink one here, and I click on the trash can, and there it is, it's gone. So that's how you delete the element. You can also come over into your study center and delete the element the same way. Just do a long click on the element to open it, or if you want to delete it, go into your study center, select it, tap delete, and it's gone. If you're in your study center this way, you can just swipe from right to left. You can edit this, move it, or click delete. And then you select yes, I want to delete it. If I want to move this element into another area, let me just come back into the study center. I can swipe there. I can go move. I can choose the folder that I want it to go into. I can click OK. That element has now been moved. Go back up into EGW, and there it is there. And if I want to move it back, I can just swipe on it, click on move, go back to PP, drop it in PP, click on the little check mark, and now if I go back to PP, my element is here. But you say, well, this element was at the top of the list before. No problem. If you put your finger on this element here, nothing will happen. Just put your finger over on the icon and then drag the icon up to the top and place it, and it's back into that order. Or you can come down and you can put it down into the middle if you so desire. So you can pick it up here. Let's pick it up. There we go. And drop it into the middle. So you can pick it up and locate it where you want. And it's telling you in this little pop-up here as I move, as it's syncing out to the cloud, it's telling you what got updated in your study center, that little tiny notification. Okay, so there's another thing that I want to show because I have a note and then some highlights. I want to put a bookmark back in here just to show you another little feature in the study center. Let's put a bookmark, and we're in PP. Okay. Now, when I come back into the study center over here, if I just want to see my highlights, then all you need to do is just tap highlights up there, and you can see the other elements are hidden. If you want to tap and just see the note, there's my note. You want to tap the bookmark, there's my bookmark. If you want to see all three elements, you tap all. And if you want to sort your collections, so if I just wanted to be, say I had multiple books within that center, if I actually come here and click on the Acts of the Apostles, it's actually going to show me nothing because it's filtering within there. I'd actually have to come down and find Patriarchs and Prophets. So if I scroll down here and you see Patriarchs and Prophets, and I click on that, it comes back. But I could go through and filter out if I had multiple books from multiple elements, say I had 30 or 40 elements within this Patriarchs and Prophets folder, I could, and I may just have, things from other than the conflict series, maybe from Great Controversy or Desire of Ages or things in this folder, then I could come through and filter them out. If I wanted to see everything, then you just need to come back and click all, and everything shows. So that's the little basis of the study center. You've got the filters at the top. You've got the types of elements you want to show. You've got your navigation up and down elements here. Remember, if you want to move them in the order, you just click on the icon, drag it up. If you want to delete, you swipe left, and you can edit, move, or delete the element. So if I want to delete it, I can just tap delete. If you're sure you want to delete, you click delete. If not, you can hit cancel, and it'll be back. And if you want to open the element, you just tap it, and it opens back. If you just want to open the next element, you open back. Now, something that's very useful is down the bottom right-hand corner, you say, well, I don't want to have to keep going back to my study center to navigate. That's not a problem. You don't have to. In the bottom right-hand corner here, you've got your study center navigation. And you can go forward to the next element, and you can step through. And you can come back to the previous element and navigate through all your study center list here by within the reader and go through. So if you create a Bible study, let's say, for example, or a Spirit of Prophecy study, you can start at element number 1. And when you start at element number 1, you can just step through and go through the study. So we've created all those features within the reader and within the study center. Now you may ask, what are some of the other things that I can do in here? Because I'm sure that you saw. If I just long click on a word, you can see what it comes up here, and I can click on the little magnifying glass. So if I click on the magnifying glass, it's actually going to search for angels within the current book. If I want to search everywhere, Then I come up here and I go back to EGW Collections, and it'll give me results from all the books. And we're going to do search next. I just wanted to show you that when you select a word and you do a search, it'll search for that word. Now, if I do multiple words like a phrase, so maybe I go all has taken place as predicted. Let's see how many times all has taken place when I search for that. Okay, and I'll go and search in EGW Collections, and you can see there is 4 times that that phrase is used in her writing. So that's a nice little quick tool that you have within the reader. All you need to do is select that word. Now there was a couple other things that were there. So let me just come down into a section. All right, so let me pick up a little highlighted section here. Okay, you can also start to play from here, and you can also share. Now I'm going to do the share here first. That's in the middle row, the little arrow that points to the right, and if I tap on that, maybe I want to share this, say, out to my Twitter account. I can click on Share Selection, or I can, if I want to share it out to a Word app or something, I could go say Share Chapter, or I can actually select a range of paragraphs. So there's my option. I'm just actually going to click on Share Selection. I'm going to choose Twitter, and it pops out, and then I can post here directly on my Twitter feed this quote. Okay, so there it is right there. And if I hit tweet, away it would go, and it would share that tweet. Now I'm not going to post that. I'll hit delete. Okay, so I could share out to Facebook, Twitter, but if I want to share something else out, all right, so I'll just highlight this section here, and I click on share. When I go share selection, I can click on other, and then it brings up like all the other sections. So maybe I want to share it as a text message. I can click on that. I can select the messages here and click. Okay, so that's all the basics within the tool. One thing that you can do, of course, is that you can play directly from a section. So you can click here, for example, and I can hit play.
But the people of Israel lost sight of their high privileges as God's representatives.
Now you notice that when I do hit play, it pops up here, and it pops the little reader. That little color will slowly move all the way around in white as it goes through and plays this chapter. If I click pause, it stops. If I do a long click on this, it brings you back to the whole media player. Okay, and see there I can go and I can play pause. So just so you know, a long click brings you back to that point. And if I want to close that out, I just hit X, and the little pop over will hide out of here. You can also play directly. Also, if I get back and I click the AA, as I said before, you can tap on listen here, and it will also play out from there as well.
Chapter 1.
Okay, let me hit pause so it's not playing in the background. So we've basically gone through, and I've shown you how you do everything except basically copy. And that's the same as share, essentially. You can just select your text. Once you've got your text selected, you can hit copy, and that now you're able to go and paste that text anywhere, like into a message or Facebook or anywhere where you want. It will automatically copy the reference code for you as well. Now, a lot of people say, hey, but that's very easy. If I do a long click here and I can select the text, or I can drag my finger across the screen to select the text. But what if I want to select multiple paragraphs? That's a real pain to have to come up here and then go drag down. Well, never fear, we've already built that feature in for you for text selection. If for text selection I want to select multiple paragraphs, just do a long click on the first word. Then don't tap the screen, just drag the screen down to the end of the last paragraph that you want to select, do another long click, and all the paragraph text in between is selected. You just then click copy, and it says text copied to the clipboard. And I can go and paste it into a message, if I want to. Basically, hit paste, and you can see here, when it shows up here, you can see that it gives you the reference, the range of the reference. So it went from Acts of the Apostles, page 14, paragraph 2, through to Acts of the Apostles, page 16, paragraph 1. And there's my whole range of text that was selected there. Okay, so here we are. We've shown you how to copy text, not just doing the long click and drag. You can double click to bring up a single word. You've got the selections, or you can do a long click, and everything in between will be selected. And if you say, well, that wasn't the exact selection that I want, I actually want to come up to there, you can long click again, and it will just keep adding until you have found the selection that you want to add to. So I've now shown you all the features in selection of the text. A quick way to go back to the home is I tap the little side menu, tap the home screen, and I'm back to the home menu. All right, we've pretty much covered all the little features in the reader, bar one thing, and that's navigating through the chapters. So if I come back into the reader, open up a book, open up chapter 1, navigation, there's two ways. You can scroll through here, and when you get to the end of the chapter, let me just scroll through, you'll say, oh, I can't go any further. It's not continuous scrolling. All you need to do is don't put your finger out on the right on the edge, because that will do an end screen grab. Just bring your finger in just a little bit and just flick, and it goes to the next chapter. If I want to go to the previous chapter, don't go to the edge screen because it will do an edge screen swipe. Just bring your finger in just a little bit on the screen and pull it in, and it drags through. So that's how you navigate from next chapter to next chapter. Okay. Now, if you want to jump, say, from chapter 3 through to a later chapter, all you need to do at any time is tap up in here in the header, and it shows you your table of contents list. So I can jump down to 16. And if I'm up here in the top, same thing, I can just tap in the header, brings up the table of contents I can jump into. Now there's another thing down the bottom, you've got your navigation slider. You can also put your finger here, and you can quickly, as you can see, navigate through to a particular chapter. Lift, and there you are. So that's how you navigate through the reader. Navigating within the app. Tap the header, it shows the table of contents. Now you'll notice on the right hand side in the table of contents, you've got the player. You can actually tap here, open the chapter, and play. Chapter. You can also come up here and read by tapping the header. If you're down in a chapter, it's no problems. You can tap the header. When you tap the header, you come back to the table of contents, and you can show your table of contents. You can also navigate by using the navigation scroll bar at the bottom. If you want to just go to the next chapter, you swipe right to left. If you want to go to the previous chapter, left to right, swiping. Okay. And then navigate at any stage through like that. And then you can just slowly go through and read. So that's navigation within the reader. Let's go back to the main menu again. Tap on the sandwich icon, tap on the home, and I'm back to the main menu. Now, we were going through and we sort of started from the reader, and we're going to go look into audiobooks next. And you can see down here in audiobooks, when I tap on audiobooks, it lists all the languages that have audiobooks. And you can say, okay, English 235, well, that means there are 235 books that we have audio for. Chinese, we have 14, Czech 3, and as you scroll down, we have 99 in Portuguese, 13 in Russian, 104 in Spanish. Now, we're actually adding in more French audiobooks, more German audiobooks, more Italian audiobooks, in time, more Korean audiobooks, and Japanese audiobooks as well. And we're currently working on doing that at present. But let me open up the English audiobooks here, and it brings me to the menu. Now, when I'm in the menu here, I can go and tap on a book that I want to listen to. So say The Great Controversy, so I tap on The Great Controversy, and it opens up here to the introduction. Now, a minute ago I showed you about if you want to download, you can tap on the download. I advise you not to download all unless you have a very large memory on your device, because most of these books will take around 1.5 to 2 gigabytes per audiobook to download. But you can download an individual file, so you can just click on download there, and it will download for you. And let me just come back and close. If I want to listen to that, I just tap on that, And when I tap it, it will instantly start to play. And you can see it's playing down here because you can see that it's got 6 seconds, 7 seconds, and so forth. And at the end, it tells you the total length of the audiobook. If I want to jump to forward 10 seconds, I can just tap the forward 10 seconds. Or if I want to jump back 10 seconds, if I missed something that I was listening to, I can just tap back and it will come back again. If I want to pause the audiobook, I just tap there and it pauses the audiobook. If I want to navigate to the next chapter, once it's playing, I can tap on next, and then you can see it moves here to the next chapter. I need to wait until it starts playing before you could jump through to the following chapter. Okay, we'll just hit pause there. Now, if I'm listening to the audiobook, let's say, for example, I started here at chapter 4, The Waldenses, and I tap that and it starts to play, and I want to read along, just tap chapter 4 again. It opens up within the reader, and I can go ahead and read along with it. So I can just move and scroll. If I want to pause, I can tap pause. And if I want to get back into the player, I just long click here and it opens up the player here where I can jump forward and back. I can just swipe down and back to play again, and it will start to play, and I can go through and read. When I stop, just hit the pause. If I want to close out the little popover, I can hit that and it's closed. So that's a quick little navigation on the audiobook. And if I want to come back and hit the audiobook again and pause and come back, what I do is I tap here, tap the header, and here I am right there on the player. And I can come back and tap the player. Now I can get back all the way out to the main menu of the audiobooks, come back into audiobooks, and here it is here. I can get back into what I was playing before if I so desire. Now, the good thing is when I'm logged in, and let's say, for example, I'm on chapter 1, and I am mostly through chapter 1. I'm 40 minutes into the chapter. I pause that, and because I got a phone call, it will automatically pause. You can listen to it in the car if you're driving, because you can hook it up with your Bluetooth audio, or you can hook it up with your earbuds if you want to listen to it while you're jogging or working around the house. It's great. Audiobooks are fantastic for doing that. But if I finish what I'm doing and I need to start doing something else, and you say, well, how am I going to pick up from where I left off the next day? Well, that's the advantage in here of coming back in to the audiobook's listening history. So let me just backtrack here, and you've got listening history. So if I tap on listening history, you can see the last book that I was listening to here, and you can see it tells me the time right there, 40 minutes and 53 seconds. That's exactly where I was up to. So all I need to do is I tap on the play, and it will pick up exactly from that section in the chapter where I was last listening to. If you want to just jump back 10 seconds just to make, or 20 seconds, you just hit that a couple of times, and then you can sort of jog your memory where you were last listening to and left off. So that's essentially the audiobooks and listening books for the listening history. Okay. Now, something else that is very useful if I'm going to be wanting to use this app, say offline, and I spoke about being able to download the audiobooks. You can also download, when you come into all collections, you can see here that I got 120 of 120, and I've downloaded everything into the app. Now you can see here I have yet to download like the manuscript releases or the miscellaneous collections. Maybe I want to download the miscellaneous collections for offline use. So I can just tap here, tap the download arrow, and I can just tap download all, and you can see that they are downloading. It says loading now, and away it goes in the download manager. Now if I close that out and it's going to download, then index it for my device. If I want to come back and see where I'm up to, I can tap the side menu, I can click on download manager, and here it is. It's gone into the books, the next section in the books. Now if I want to see if I've downloaded anything else, see how in the books I can tap there and I can select audiobooks, and you can see if I come over to downloaded, these are where I can go ahead and delete, once I've downloaded to save storage, my audiobooks. I can just tap on the delete, remove, and then delete, remove, and there they are. I've removed the large 2 meg files that I had downloaded on the audiobooks. I can do the same if I've come down and downloaded any ebooks. I haven't downloaded any there, but this is how you switch between what you've downloaded. So I can go and delete all in one go there if I wish. Say I want to come and I'll click on, Adventist Home, and I click on Adventist Home. And when I click on that, I can delete it from this device or I can delete it from the cloud. Deleting it from the cloud means it will remove it from all other devices as well. If I delete it from this device, it will show up in the cloud, but not on this device anymore. So I'm going to go and delete EGW Cloud. Okay. And now it's gone from everywhere. And if I come back into Home, go to All Collections, go to Books, it now said 119 of 120. And you can see how Adventist Home is not downloaded. If I just want to download that individual book, you can just click on the little cloud icon there. It will spin around and it will download that book. So that's basically how I delete the books, download the books, and check that the books are downloaded for offline use. And that means that if you don't have a data connection or a cell connection, you can continue to use this app. All right, we have not touched search. Search is probably one of the major areas of this app that people like to use EGW Writings for. Now, EGW Writings, I strongly advise that you use search very carefully and judiciously. Most people, when they use the app, use it for just looking a passage up or a quote that a pastor or a teacher or a lesson has brought up, and then they go on their merry way. If you truly want to completely understand the writings of Ellen White, you need to enjoy the whole book. So let's say, for example, we were opening up Acts of the Apostles or Patriarchs and Prophets. That's just part of the great conflict series or the great controversy between Christ and Satan that goes from heaven to the New Jerusalem right through Genesis to Revelation. And you need to read, Patriarchs and Prophets, Prophets and Kings, Desire of Ages, Acts of the Apostles, the great controversy to understand the whole context of a writing. If you just take a quote, that could be completely out of context. If someone gives you a quote, at least if you're going to look it up. So say I come into here and I type in the greatest want. All right, so I'm going to click on the greatest want. I'm going to click on search. And I get up the search results here. And I can come up here and I can go through and say, okay, the greatest want. There we go. Education, page 57. And I can take this quote, the greatest want is the want in the world is the want of men who will not be bought or sold, men who in their inmost souls are true and honest, men who do not fear to call sin by its right name, men whose conscience is as true to duty as the needle is to the pole, men who will stand for the right, though the heavens fall. But if you're given a quote in something, I advise that you always go and at least at a minimum read the context. Great if you read the whole chapter, because the chapter is full of wisdom, full of teaching us as God's people how to live a Christian life and follow his principles. That quote is like the core of the chapter, but it's just a few words. Why not read the whole chapter? So don't just do yourself a disservice by just reading quotes. Fill yourself up. It's sort of like taking a few crumbs from the table without eating the whole meal. You are best to read everything. If you can read the whole book, Education, all the better. If not, read at least the chapter, not just the quote. Anyway, let's get into search. So we're going to say in the app we want to do search. And as I just said to you and implored with you, use search judiciously. It's great to be able to navigate to a book, find a quote that someone's quoting in the sermon, but when you find the quote, please always make sure you read the context and read the chapter if you can. Now you can use search to navigate around. It's quite useful. If I want to go to a particular book, like we were talking about Patriarchs and Prophets before, I can type PP, click on the magnifying glass, and I'm right there at Patriarchs and Prophets. If I wanted to jump across and go to Steps to Christ, I can type SC for Steps to Christ, but maybe I don't know the book code, so I can just type out Steps, oops, I need to put in the P, Steps to Christ. All right, and I click on the search, and it's going to take me directly to the book. Now, once you've gone to the book, it's great. At the end of the paragraph here, you can actually see the book code. So after you use the app more and more and more, you'll start to learn the book codes, and you can navigate around the apps much quicker. So if you tap on here, and I tap on the little search magnifying glass there, and then I tap on here, say I want to go to education page 57, put the space, and then the page number that you want to go to, and you hit search, and it will bring us to 57, which down here in paragraph 3 was the quote that I mentioned just a minute ago, the greatest one of the world. So that's how you can use search to actually navigate to a book, a page, and if I even, so let me just scroll back up here. If I actually put in .3, it would have taken me directly to the book, page, and paragraph. So I can do ed space 57.3, and you say, well, how do you know all that? That's not a problem, because when I click on the little search magnifying glass, see at the top here, the little tiny question mark there? If I tap on the question mark, see how it lists out all of the help search syntax. It's listed right there for you to be able to use. How did I get there again? All you do is you tap on search, and you can get to search from the side menu. You can get to search also from tapping search at the top there. And when I tap it on the top there, I'm here in the search. If I'm in the main menu, search is right here. Okay, so search opens it up. If I want to get to the help in the header, you see the question mark. You tap the question mark, and it loads all of the search help syntax for you. Now, beside the little question mark, there is what you can see is like a little globe with meridians and latitudes there, right? And if I tap on that, that puts my app into offline mode. That's what that one is, and I've already explained what the home is. That takes you back to your home screen, the main menu. Now, when I come in here and I do a search, let's say for a word, so say here I come in and I'm searching for faith, and when it loads, what it does is it's going to load in chronological order through the tree. But you say, I want it to be more like Google. I want it to give a relevancy-based quote. Well, we have that as well. So see the little up and down arrows here, the little filter? You tap there and I can choose weighted relevancy. Now, why would I choose weighted relevancy over relevancy? What weighted relevancy does is it puts Ellen White quotes first before it puts in quotes from scripture or reference or the Adventist Pioneer Library. Now you say, well, how do I know what I'm in? Well, if I come back here and sort by relevancy, okay, you'll notice as I scroll through the relevancy, okay, there's one from red. So if it's from scripture, it's going to be red. If it's from, let's see if I can see another one. Okay, there's another red one. I'm hoping I come across another color here. All right. If I put in another word, let's say I put in a word like an Australian word. So may I put in like where I'm from, Sydney, and I do a search, say, for Sydney. Okay. And I come up here and I choose all collections. You'll notice now that there's a reference in there, and that's yellow. And you notice that there's green here, which is Adventist Pioneer Library. The blue is EGW. And is there any more scripture ones? No, there's not going to be Sydney in scripture, of course. We went and saw that before, and that's red. So you know the different collections that you are in depending on the color code. So you can be assured if it's in blue that it's from an Ellen White quote. All right. So let's come back. And let's say also in the next filter, you can see I want to see just the search results coming from earliest first. Now, when I do earliest first, you can notice that it's bringing up this word Sydney that I typed from the reference collection. But if I come back into my first word that I was searching for, I can see it on my history. I just type faith. And if I want to switch from all collections through to EGW collections, you can see how it filters that out for me. So you have here 3 rows of filters. This is my collection filter, and I can go to a book, or I can come in here and go to lifetime works. And now it only gives me books from 1844 through to 1917. Now, Ellen White did die in 1915, but Prophets and Kings was in manuscript form, and it wasn't published in its final form until 1917 by her son and secretary, Willie White. And then you can say, well, I just want to look at compilations. I can filter just compilations collection, or maybe I want to get down and just see what the Bible has, and now it just filters within the Bible. So that's where my collection filter is at the top. The next one over here is I can particularly filter within elements within that collection. So like I'm in English and say I expand EGW Writings. If I double click on English, it unselects everything, and I can just select devotional books, and I can filter now to just look for the word faith within devotional books. And if I want to come back and go over here and I want to say latest first, then it will resort these devotional books from the last devotional book that we have posted in here, which should have been in 2015, yes. So you can see here in the top where I've got the result number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The next in the line, it says EGW, that's the author. 2015, that's the year it was published. HB is the book code, Homeward Bound. The page number, 146, paragraph 4. So that's how you can identify in your search snapshot where the quote is from, the author, the page, and the published date. So that's the little filter along there. And then the last filter, as I went through before, you can sort in here within your content sequence. You can sort in your weighted relevancy, which is weighted relevancy is a great little one because it is like Google, but it puts, as I said, Ellen White quotes first, where relevancy will do it from all. Now, another thing which is very useful down here is, let's say, for example, that I don't know fully the word that Ellen White used. Then we have what we call root match, exact match, and the combination, which is a default. So in exact match, it's only going to find the word faith. So if I go through here, and you can notice that I have, for the word faith, 101,458, where I have the exact match. If I look at the root word match, then it's going to come up for words like faithful, faithfulness. And you can see here that I have 26,457. And then if I click on the exact match and root word, it'll combine those two numbers together and get 127,000 results. But if I'm looking for a particular word and I didn't quite get it right in the way that I typed it, it looks at the database of other Ellen White words in the root of that word that you may have typed and gives you other suggestions. So that's the useful part. But if you always want an exact match, you can come in here and click that, and it will only show those results. But the good thing is it shows the exact matches first and then the root matches second. So that is essentially the little filter elements that we've run through along the top on search. Now there's many other types of searches and things you can do, and something that may confuse people is, let's say for example I come into the book education, it's going to open it up. But maybe I don't want to look for the book education and open it up, I want to search for the word education. You just tap in here, and then it says here search text education, you just tap that. It brings up now, all within Ellen White's writings, the word education. If I want to sort and say, well, I just want to see that in the earliest first, it will resort the list, and now I have it in the earliest first results. Okay, if I want to see everywhere, instead of just the book education, it will now sort all these from the earliest forms, which is going to be the pamphlets. And as we go through, because they're not listed with a date, as I get past the pamphlets, down in here, well, there's a lot of results in the pamphlets. Okay, there we go. So now we're in the Testamies and these early volumes. But if I come back in here and sort like latest first, it should come up here and Principles for Christian Leaders that we released in 2018. And it can go through the word education from here. All right, so that's basically how you can switch for like searching for a word. But maybe I want to search for a phrase like I did before. Now, what was the phrase that I searched before? The greatest one. Now, that is an individual. It tried to bring the most relevant quote in a phrase near the top in our new phrase search, but I can actually put double quote marks around that. And you say, well, how do I know to do that? Because up in here, see how I can do a phrase search? And it gives me my example there like I showed. And if I do a phrase search here and I do a search for that, the results that come back will only be a phrase. Now, if I want to say, okay, I want to look for this quote just within a particular book, I can come up here, I can go education, the greatest one, and now it will only give me the one result that I'm after in the book education. You say, how did I know to do that? Once again, I'll refer you back to the search help here, in which it's giving you example of searching for words within the book, education. So there's many other features that I won't get into in this overview of using the app, but that's how you basically use search. You can use it for navigation, looking up words, phrases, and you can do Boolean searches, word matching, proximity matching. There's many other features in search that you can use, and I've explained the different search filters underneath there as well. Now the last section, two sections I want to go through is My Library and then subscriptions. Now subscriptions, if I subscribe to something, like I subscribe to a devotional book like My Life Today, I've already signed up for it. In another subscription, I'm going to give you a tutorial on how to use the actual subscription app and sign up for it. But this is just showing you. So if I've already subscribed to, say, Thought for the Day, you can see here how it lists the calendar, and it has a circle around the current day, and then it lists my subscriptions for that day. And if I tap on Thought for the Day, it opens up. If I want to go to my next subscription, I can just tap here. Now, it won't go into May 6 because May 6 hasn't occurred yet, but I can go back to my previous one. So see, May 6 is not there, but I can come back and scroll through my previous quotes that pop up. And I've chosen to receive these early in the morning, and it will be delivered at the set time within my location that I am in my time zone, and it will deliver it at 6 a.m. every day. And how I set that is over here in the settings of my subscription settings. You can see how I can come in here and set it all up in my subscription. So that's essentially the subscriptions. Now you might say, what's this 272? That means I have 272 items which I haven't checked off as read in my subscription. Now My Library is another feature which is very useful. Many of you may have used Google Books, or maybe you've used Kindle books, and you're quite used to, on your bookshelf, being able to read and pick up from the exact location that you last left off. So we've basically essentially built two apps in one here. We have built like the Kindle reader and a standard Bible app as it was, because Bible apps are great for searching and navigating and finding quotes and things. If I came in here in our old version of our app that we had back in version 3, and if I clicked on search and then I went and navigated through Patriarchs and Prophets, it would update my reading history in Patriarchs and Prophets to where I search for and open it up. And that gets annoying because maybe I want to read through the books. So I'd have to create a bookmark. But no more with My Library. With My Library, the great thing is in here is if I tap on My Library, it will basically return me to the last location that I'm in. So I'm in chapter 1, but say I get to the end of chapter 1 and then I've come to the next day and I'm down to about here in the book. So if I'm Prophets Kings 35 and I basically come in here and I go, okay, I'm done reading for the day, and I navigate back, I'm on the home screen and I close out the app. I'll just swipe out the app here, and I'll come back and I will open up the app again the next day, and I tap on My Library and it'll automatically take me exactly back to the reading location that I was last reading. Now say for example that I am searching in Prophets and Kings. So if I come into Prophets and Kings, I'll show you how it doesn't get affected. So I'll search within Prophets and Kings and I'll search for David. Okay. And now you can see here I've got many results in Prophets and Kings, and I'll come down to a later page that I was on, page 99, and I'm reading away here in 99. Now that's coming in from search. In my history, all right, it will say here that I'm on Prophets and Kings 101.2. But if I come in here to my library and I open up my library, okay, it's back to where I was and not at 108 and not back at 102. So it takes me back to the location where I actually was in my library. So, you know, you can navigate around wherever you want. Okay, I'm navigating around. I'm reading in Prophets and Kings, like I'm in chapter 1. Let's come back like in chapter 1. And I will go back out of my library. All right, so navigate back out of my library all the way back into the app. I can go that from home. I can jump into my history, and my history tells me exactly where I was. But now let's come back and repeat that search for David. Let's pop into page 45. All right, so here we are in 45. And then I'll come back out here, go back to home, because I search for that, click on my library, go back into English, into books, Prophets and Kings, and it takes me back into chapter 1 where I was. So chapter 1, if I navigate and search from within my library, it will change that. But if I don't do that and navigate and search from the, any other collection from the home screen, it treats the search different from the reader. And you can navigate in two separate aspects. You can keep a book for reading and you can keep a book for searching and navigating. So we've built two histories within the app, the My Library history and then the history of the app. Now, if the history combines, this history combines the reading and it combines the My Library. So if I tap here, it will take me into there. But if I come in from my library, it will come in from my reading history. So it keeps those two separate. So you can be confident in reading through. Now, if you're in my library and you want to delete a book, that's no problems. You can come into your books here. And if I click on, say, I'm in reading and I want to take child guidance out, I can delete once again from my device or I can delete from the cloud. And if I delete it from the cloud, it removes it from everywhere. If I delete the book just from my device, then it removes it from my library from this device, but doesn't remove it from any other devices that may be synced in. So that's the separation of my library between the cloud and your device. Something that we didn't get over into, we've run through every other area here, is we didn't get really into the settings. And I'll just say that there are a lot of custom settings over on the side here that you can set. And that's really a tutorial on its own that you can go through. If you ever want to reach out to us and contact us, our contact, android@ellenwhite.org is our email contact address. That's us just wanted to set out. But you can customize your default Bible, your default fonts, your bookshelf layouts. You can customize what your library does and what your reader fonts and sizes and everything does and how you copy your codes. You can customize your search and then the general layouts here and what you want to do. So there's a lot of things in the side menu that you can customize. So I've gone through all the major tutorial parts of the EGW Writings 2 app for you. I know I ran through so much, but never fear, on YouTube you can backtrack and watch it all over again and watch section by section. And in the coming weeks, we're also going to make individual tutorials on the major areas of the app, like search and My Library and subscriptions and the reader and listening and audiobooks. All that will be done in an individual tutorial, and you'll be able to watch them one at a time and not in one great big long tutorial. I hope that, though, has been very useful as an overview of the EGW Writings 2 app. Thanks for joining us. I'm Daryl Thompson. Have a nice day.